My name is Ashley Johnson, and I am getting my master's in special ed, and I have my assistant principal here with us today.
Hello, I'm Jessie Rhodes, and I give my consent to be videotaped.
The first question is, where did you attend undergraduate school?
Concord University.
What was your area of study in your undergrad?
My undergrad started out as elementary education, and I switched. I think by the end of my first year, I had decided that I wanted to teach social studies, so it was social studies 5 through adult.
What made you decide to switch?
I thoroughly enjoyed history in college, but I was also interested in legal processes.
Where did you attend graduate school?
Concord University.
So what was your area of study for your graduate degree?
Educational leadership.
What? How many years were you a classroom teacher?
I was a classroom teacher for 9 years.
And how long have you been in your current position, or an assistant principal?
This is my third
Your third year.
year. Yes.
When completing your master's degree, did you conduct any research?
I was required my last semester to conduct action research. Do you want the topic now?
Yes. What was the topic and the questions?
My main question that I really investigated and researched was what impact parental involvement has on overall student achievement and success.
What method did you use? Quantitative or qualitative?
Both. I looked at attendance, discipline, and academics, mostly like overall average, class average, and I also conducted interviews with teachers and parents.
What were your results of your research? What was the results of your research?
My results, I was not required to have a completed project. So by the time that I reported my results, I don't feel like that my whole entire action plan was complete. But there was a slight increase and improvement on an individual basis. The more that myself or my colleagues interacted with parents and included them, made them feel welcome, made their input feel important, then we could immediately see improvements in those individual students. But as a whole, we tried to start a PTO at middle school where we had not had one. Then we saw a slight improvement, just mostly in the climate of that grade level. Our 6th grade became more involved in the PTO. The parents of 6th graders became more involved, and we saw an improvement in that grade with the climate.
Very cool. As an assistant principal, who you often sit in special education meetings, which is why I chose you because my master's is in special education, do you use research in your current profession?
I receive email articles, it seems like, often, but anytime that I feel very passionate about something that I believe to be true, and I feel that others may not see what I see, then my mind immediately goes to, I've got to start building a case of evidence, and I want to find some research. And so, of course, learning what I did in my master's program, I'm first going to look for already published research, like literature review type thing. But I also am willing to conduct our own action research and, select a group of students to try something with and look at the results of what we've tried to implement there. So research is really important to me. I look through articles and just what we do here, on a daily basis.
Do you have any specific topics you're passionate about when you come across them?
Right now, my big passion is not retaining as much as possible, because from what I have read through articles that cite research, and I always say like day-to-day research, just information that we get from each other. Students, when they turn 17 by state law here in West Virginia, can drop out. And I just had a conversation just 15 minutes ago with a retired teacher who subs throughout the county, and she was talking about comparing the different grade levels. And she just had a conversation with a 16-year-old at the high school who said, I won't be here next year because when I turn 17, I'm dropping out. And so that's my biggest thing right now. And I think that that's very related to special education because sadly sometimes children are retained before they're placed in special education. So we even work sometimes to change their placement to more age appropriate. But yeah, that's my thing lately.
Back to the action research at here, are you conducting any current action research?
The only thing that I received the wellness grant, so that doesn't really have as much to do with special education, but we do want students to set goals, both a nutritional goal and a physical fitness type goal, and to track that. So looking at that. But today I selected a group to begin the Minds in Motion maze. Some of those students are in the SAT process, and the bigger concern is reading. And Minds in Motion was put together by a reading specialist who had her master's in reading as a reading specialist. She did everything she could, and still these students were not learning to read, so she reached out to the medical community and discovered that the tiny little muscle, I've forgotten the name of it already, between the ears, somewhere within the ear canal and system, is very crucial to students learning to read. And so she developed a series of simple exercises that can be done daily. It takes about 15 minutes to work through the maze and strengthen this muscle. And her research that she has conducted proves that students become better readers after they have engaged in these exercises daily. So after Thanksgiving break, the group I selected today, I took them out, explained to them, showed them a diagram of the ear and the muscle that we're focusing on, showed them the different exercises in the maze, and they are ready to get started when we get back from break. So I'm anxious to look at their reading scores. I talked to the teacher, and there's a specific fluency test that she does with them each week, and we're going to use that score to see over time if this helps at all.
That's exciting. I'm excited for her. Let's see. In relation to special education, do you have any advice for a teacher completing their master's?
Completing their master's, I would definitely focus on any research that provides you with strategies or best practices in addressing behaviors. It's such a maze, such a guess and check process of what would work with a student. So the more that you can find out about, and really we as educators, I think, have to work with psychologists in the mental health realm, because they have so much more insight to the root of these behaviors and certain things that can strengthen any problems or weaknesses that students may have. And then if we can couple their insight with our educational knowledge and what works there, then we can help students. So, and we always, you and I have talked before, we always have students who are struggling, but they still are not eligible for special education. So no matter what classroom you walk into, any research that can give you more tools in your toolbox for how to differentiate and reach different students will be helpful.
One more question. Do you conduct any research? Because our school is such, we have so many students who come from backgrounds and they come to school and they have these behavior issues. Do you conduct any research in regards to behaviors and best practices? In regard to behaviors and best practices, I use what is provided for the most part from RESA. It's a Hawthorne book of interventions. I've used resources from the Bright Bites, Clarity
that West Virginia, the whole state, has purchased for all public schools to use. That provides a wealth of ideas in addressing behaviors that range from research-based strategies that have been used in schools to just articles highlighting a school that has shown a big improvement. So for the most part, my research right now, I guess, would be more literature review in behaviors. The Minds in Motion maze, I have one student I've been working with on an individual basis. He and I work through a book that focuses on learning how the brain stores memories and emotions, and becoming more aware of yourself and becoming more aware of how to manage yourself. So I'm kind of looking to see how that, but I don't have a lot of action research going on right now, really just literature review.
Well, thank you for your
You're
time.
welcome.
I appreciate it.